Right, here we are. We are resuming with episode 14 of the Vrinn Imperium playthrough. It is a 3.12 Stellaris playthrough. I'm running about 30 mods or so. They're all available in the description of this video or in the About on the Twitch channel. And it includes mostly visual mods and content mods, expanding out with planetary diversity, GUIs, planetary properties, more events, and dynamic political events, real space, just to try to make the universe more fulsome and have more content. There has been the ongoing saga here of the Empire of the Vrinn Imperium. They are a race of space dwarves. They are mechanist in nature and have governing ethics of authoritarian and fanatic materialists while being efficient and Byzantine bureaucrats, along with being a technocracy. The goal being that they can expand from their current starting spot to acquire as much territory and populate with as many pops as possible through a combination of natural population growth and construction of robots, and also to attain technological dominance. In part, we have ascended to the Ultra Vrinn. We are now a cybernetic race of space dwarves, and are also intelligent, rapid breeders, and enduring. With the basic idea being that all of our leaders should have a decent lifespan to take advantage of the maximum amount of possible experience in terms of the gains in their overall technology and growth. We are located, sorry, having a little wackiness here. There we go, got my keys back. All right. So we are located in the southern central ring of 1,000 system ring galaxy. We have 2 star empires directly on our borders. The Stellaris data bank, who are a machine intelligence and who are currently hostile towards us, have laid claims on a few of our systems and generally are just disagreeable, to which we have staffed up our 2 connecting systems in Etrivipe and Hyzar with both star fortresses and small border fleets, along with a number of defense platforms in order to try to keep at least them from getting too interested in crossing the border. They have a few armadas, but I have not seen battleships yet, so I think that our technological lead on them may well have... Are there some battleships there? Yep, there's some battleships. All right. Our technological lead may give us an advantage in the near term. In comparison, they are pathetic in military power. They're inferior to us in both technology and economy. To our south is the Holy Vrinn Covenant. They are a theocratic dictatorship. They are also behind us in terms of empire development, but have become our protectorate as of a few episodes back in the game. Further south is a very weak Zelvon corporate holdings. They were one of the first empires that we ran into early on. They're peaceful traders. They haven't really expanded very much. We are trying to capture Yassam because they had recently been expanding to the northeast, and we want to try to just cut off Yassam as a choke point so that we can command at least the rest of these systems in terms of growth. And we're also growing out to our northwest, which is a had previously been occupied by the Magyar freebooters, a race of mercenaries who we eliminated in the last episode. We've left our mothership out there to control the system of Briscoe in case there's anything that wants to enter in and allow us ample opportunity to dominate internally here. Our large first expeditionary fleet has done most of the heavy lifting in terms of any battle. They're fairly well buffed at this point, nearly 76, 77k in power, and we use them essentially to clear the Magyar. Let's see what we have. We have some robotic species. I believe we have it queued up to clean that up. Let's just see. I'm going to apply that template to these 3 pops. That should be robot.
Situation log updated.
Do a quick bit of research on that. I think one of the things we need to do is check all of our colonies are based on our 4 initial worlds, which were Vrinn, Wadriax 1, Wadriax Prime with Rilly Prime, and then our successive colonies that we've terraformed to expand outwards. All of them are running robot assembly. I want to run a check here and make sure that we specify building our latest robot models across the board. In the last episode or 2, we also have built a robot for the Awoken, which were some alien species who we discovered their personas downloaded or uploaded to neural banks that we captured early in the game, and at a later point have completed resurrecting them as the Awoken, as robots that have now a single planet on Bernie Prime that they've occupied. Oh no, wait a second. That's Bazkarat, so let's keep on moving. All in the bees. Just making sure, because we started having too many possibilities for robots, having a couple different builds. Bazkarat, we're going to allow the Awoken to build themselves and just see how that goes, because I'm kind of curious as to what possible results we may end up with there. So we'll make sure that we're all building our most advanced models. Other than that, we are taking advantage of the influence where we can to expand further and further out. We dominated the L-Gate and have a large star fortress with a number of defense platforms and additional ones building that we're going to use to defend that. And overall, we are the lead and most influential persona in the Galactic Council of 3 members and of the galactic community overall. We're going to continue to do as best we can. So, hitting unpausing and moving on.
Special project complete.
Everything has been spent. We recently were upgrading. We have a good deal of technology currently producing almost 3,500. That's allowed us to get a fair dominance on the technology chain. We're running through now more advanced techs in fairly short order to keep our perspective lead over the rest of our local galaxy neighbors. I'm going to run through and have a look at what we have going in terms of options here.
Tactical retreat.
Researchers on Vrinn have eagerly
Stars
anticipated the
charted.
countdown of the mysterious atomic clock of prodigious precision found on Rim 3A for the past 42 years and 3 days. Several decades worth of heated speculation and conjecture have evaporated in an instant. The clock has just now reached its momentous deadline, ejecting a stream of self-replicating nanites. These nanites left the surface of the asteroid, where they have coalesced into a fascinating unmanned military vessel. It is ours for the taking should we so desire it. We want nanites. Our last nanite ship was impressively powerful. This looks similar. Incredible. This is a nanite interdictor. It's not nearly as powerful as what we have in our mothership,
Construction complete.
but I'm interested to see if we can join those two fleets together. So we're going to send the nanite interdictor out to meet the mothership.
Vessels upgraded.
So we recently upgraded the Wii U Starbase. And that was partially because of the Magar freebooters and the possibilities that they invaded and blew up a few of our systems. For the near term, we're going to make sure that we have sufficient defenses, because that's essentially a choke point into our main systems. Our third expeditionary fleet is down in Rochelle, and we've also recently buffed it. It's not as large as the first, but has been our southern protection fleet. We do share only one hyperlane with the Holy Vrinn Covenant to our south, which is Dradim, which also has a star base and a fair amount of defenses. We could continue to buff that up. We also took control of a precursor megastructure and restored it, and we have the ability to produce quite a bit of additional naval capacity there. We are doing well on naval capacity. We are starting to crawl near our Empire sprawl. I think that we're going to start to add a few extra administrative offices as these city districts finish and open up new building slots. We'll add additional buildings to account for the same. So we're running out of population on Bernie. We'll add a city district there to make sure that they are accounted for. Alright, we have a colony ship moving to Zalamon, and recently built a second in Rochelle that I think we intended probably for Selnock when we originally queued it up. We only have 2 years left on the terraforming that we have going on in Grunar. That could be another good spot. Mang is not all that nice. We kick off terraforming there to the Gaia world. That's a nice bump to administrative capacity. So, being that this colony ship will kind of slowly arrive there, we're going to send it to Grunar Prime and look to start our expansion into that system, because those should be valuable worlds when they're done terraforming. These colonies are mostly our younger colonies, and recently finished terraforming at one point or another in some of the last episodes. All those are stored in videos on demand and also on a YouTube station if you want to check out any of the historical episodes. It's been a slow and long build towards here, but that's the way I generally prefer to play these type of strategy games, is in that marathon style where it just is almost like reading a book. After that, we're going to queue up a research project here. There was a dread pirate that we wanted to find out more about. Get a nice bump on stability with our next tradition, or we can keep our leaders around. We have some fairly old leaders, so I'm going to give them another 20 years and keep them around for their possible experience and value, because you can never undervalue the experience of the wizened. Over in Chalk's, Science Officer Beshna Takor reports that Chalk's 1A is covered from pole to pole in a web-like network of electrical filaments. These networks respond to external stimuli. The ISS Explorer experimented with sending a low-voltage pulse to the surface, which resulted in a wave of illumination that rippled through the network like a circuit board. Even more remarkably, these webs arranged themselves. A second low-voltage pulse revealed that the filaments had been organized into a new pattern centered around where the previous pulse had contacted the surface of Chalk's 1A. Beshna Takor concludes that this discovery confirms his long-held theory that life can exist as almost purely electrical impulses, independent of cellular or viral structure. Fascinating, and we get a level bump on our scientist, who I think Besh is quite a high, and we can add some possible research potential to Chalk's, and we're further sending her back over to Kongath to investigate the lead on the Dread Magar Pirate. We're going to build an outbase in Yasam in order to stop any expansion into what we generally consider our territory, and I think is well considered. We have an unemployed worker on our capital. I think we're going to send them over to Yelbarista, which is our newest colony, and we should have what we need to do so. So they're going to immediately have a roll there. So we have a couple sleeping science ships. We're going to add some additional surveys. These science ships jump through the L gates, and it's kind of odd. Oh, I think we may have retreated these guys here when the Magar kind of storming around. We're going to take the more experienced of the two and send them over to assist research on Rim Prime. We're going to take the less experienced of the two and send them over to Bazkarat and assist research there.
Technology secured.
We have these two idle ships. I think getting some of these edge systems might be valuable. We do want to climb through here where we took out the Magar freebooters. Sturil was a fairly valuable system that it might be valuable for us to get over to, as well as Alpus had a Gaia world. And Wendell had a Salt world, which has some debuffs, but still seemed pretty valuable. I think we're gonna... This feels like a kind of valuable way to go. I think we're going to do that. We're gonna send our construction ship down that way. So we have unlocked the Science Nexus. We'd use a buff to energy production. So we'll take it, even though it's a fair amount of research required. Building slot out of these folks. There are two primary agricultural colonies. Thagalon 3 has a nice mining buff. This is the last archaeological site in that precursor system in Grunar. We have reached a treasure chamber. A small hidden treasure chamber was recently uncovered by Beshnell Fulken at the archaeological dig site on Grunar 5A. Although most of the found trinkets are of little practical use, they have substantial energy credit value. We get a nice buff of 800 credits. We're moving towards the end of that string. We can terraform it for a price, and we can afford it.
Technology secured. Construction complete.
Like the sound of an oasis world. now have the ability to construct our own mega shipyards. I could really use the bumps to administrative capacity right now. I'm going to take that over. Getting too needy on the megastructure front. I'm going to add, we already have administrative offices. I'm not going to add that again. We're decent on all of our trade resource production besides moats, which is mainly because we're using them. We could make these people happier. It's interesting that no, they're unhappy across the board. You'd think with cybernetic implants and the like that you could just keep people in check. And we have good amenity production. I think a lot of it is that we have this alliance of sacred traditions who do not like us at all. And there are 133 pops that ascribe to their theories, which just has been a pain in the butt. So, I'm gonna give in, I think. I think we're going to go with hollow theaters and look for some general happiness. We already have an administrative park here. We're still generally happy here, which I will take. Enough housing. Primarily producing energy and no minerals. There was a debuff here, I think, on minerals. Yeah. Not sure we're going to really need a... We may as well buff our research more. Did we have a research institute? We already did on Wadrax 1. We already do on Wadrax Prime as well. So Wadrax Prime has a debuff on minerals. It's one of our core worlds. We just really tried to get good pop growth out of it. I think we're going to go ahead and build ourselves some moats, because that is one of the few that we are running low on. Typically out Prime is out of housing. We're going to add a city district to it. We recently got an administrative office here. I don't think it's staffed yet, so we're going to need to get some folks over to Rim Prime. We're going to upgrade that building so that we get a few more potential bureaucrats that we can use as we continue to increase our sprawl. Get a level.
Receiving communications.
Nice. So we're going to build mining stations and research stations. So the Zelvan corporate holdings ask us... Not a military... Okay. The Zelvan corporate holdings is a business conglomerate, not a military power. As our competitors take up arms against us, we find ourselves at the mercy of your goodwill, Ultra Vrinn. Will you protect us? We shall. So, our reach just through the might of progress is continuing to expand across the southern section of the galaxy here. Really, our only potential adversary is the Stellaris databank, and I think we're going to go take care of that. Going to move most of our military over to the borders of the Stellaris databank. They got into a war with the Heskar League.
Special project complete.
Alright. Beshna Takor reports success in our search for the lair of the dread pirate Waywin. A shielded bunker built into the cliffside of a tall mountain eluded our scans until now. But with the use of the Marauder data, we now know better. It seems that we weren't the first here. In fact, a rather gruesome sight awaited our team as they first arrived. The remains of large numbers of long-dead aliens, along with much of the equipment they had used, lie strewn across the site. It'll take considerable effort to sift through both our precursor's work and the sprawling underground complex hidden on Kongath 3A. Sounds like we're going to get a dig site. And we are going to... Beshna Takor is a level 10 researcher. We're going to go ahead and excavate that site. See what there is to find. Sounds like we're going to get some kind of parrot relic, if I had to guess. Okay, Bernie Prime has housing and workers are generally happy. Bernie has a buff on mining. Most of our jobs are worker jobs that are available. We have a building slot. I think we're going to toss up an administrative office to add to some of our potential capacity. I'm just going to do a little housekeeping on Low Chase. Nikor Prime. We are in the same situation. We're going to add some administrative offices there. Do the same for Baz Karat. And the same for Yale Barista. The colony ship is heading in to the abandoned habitat.
Construction complete.
Senate is now in session. We are voting to enact regulatory facilitation. We can take a 2% hit on habitability. We build an observation post, research, and mining. Pardon my drinking.
Colonization in progress.
Solomon was a really productive system, although it took quite a bit of resources to put up all of the stations necessary to capture all of the 37 minerals that it had. We're going to continue our role of building administrative offices because we just ran out of administrative capacity. Then it gets much worse. We're going to move around some jobs. I want to clean up this little corner, capture these planets in that area. Bozkarat is now a star fortress. In the last episode, we were invaded by the Magar freebooters. We're going to research the anomalies in that system. Continuing the chain of building administrative offices. We've already got some bureaucrats working. We're at a pretty big deficit of energy right now.
Complete.
So we have finished in Zalaman. I think for completeness, we want both these systems. And we'll take Saruta with the shipbuilding in Yasam.
Construction complete. Star system charted.
These two science ships jumped from the L-Gate system that we took over and just started to basically do some surveying overall. Our detailed survey of Bozkarat 2 has revealed that it may once have supported life in the distant past. There are significant deposits of frozen water at the polar ice caps and beneath the planet's surface. The existence of valley networks suggests that the water may once have flowed freely. The energy cost would be daunting. but we do have the technology to gradually terraform this planet into something that would support life once again. Well, since we own that system, we're going to go ahead. Generally leaning Gaia, we're going to continue to do so. In our search at the Dread Pirate's grave, we have made our way deeper inside the underground complex on Kongath 3A and reached a large room that used to serve as a hangar or storage room of some sort. Inside the room, multiple tents and an archaeological equipment had been set up by the previous explorers, but no occupants or their remains have been found so far. Beshna Tukor has located a datapad containing the following message. I am getting out of here. This is a warning for all that would come after Dread Pirate's treasure. You will find nothing here, only death and failure. More than 100 of us have entered here and only a few remain. The rest have fallen victim to traps and their own greed. Neron, if you somehow survive and find this message, I hope suffering and misfortune will plague the rest of your miserable days. We will keep digging. Alright, so Grunar,
Construction complete.
we have finished terraforming the 2 precursor planets into size and proximity to that star makes it awful difficult to click on. Rich soil. We have traced the unusual electromagnetic radiation emanating from Bozkarat 8 to a secret subterranean bunker hiding a megacomputer the size of a battleship. Our researchers suspect that it may have been there for several thousand years, hard at work solving a single, very complex problem, the nature of which still eludes us. When the crew attempted to interact with the computer, they discovered that the facility, which had appeared both abandoned and unguarded, was in fact operated by a security AI, the highest purpose of which seems to be frying its visitors alive. As the crew defeated the AI, it broadcasted a message to an unknown recipient. We can scrap it, boost our own research, or not disturb it and get 200 influence. Be about 100 research. We're going to take the boost. Now we're going to return and assist research here. A fledgling colony is always an opportunity for advancement, especially for those who would not be able to reach prominence on worlds where state authorities are more established. On Bernie Prime, this has proven to be the case. The teachings of a certain spiritualist guru called Yira Nakiter have been highly popular among the new colonists, and they've begun to call her elder and follow her advice, even before that of higher Vrinn authorities. She has been using this newfound authority to take a line that is far from that represented by the Vrinn Imperium and has been described as a nuisance by our local authorities. What should we do about her? We're going to arrest her. We have finally breached the locked doors on the precursor expedition on Gruner 5A. It looks like this is a rather large complex, part of the ruins above, perhaps. Our expedition team is splitting up into groups of 2 in order to more efficiently explore the chambers of this complex. Who knows what they'll find or what will find them?
Construction complete.
Major protests break out on Bernie Prime. Yurina Kater's arrest on Bernie Prime has sparked major protests with demands for her release widespread. Elements of the protests have turned violent, and our local authorities are having difficulties keeping the populace under control. They have requested guidance from the executive as to how to deal with this situation. I'm going to take her to the Vrinn planet. I think we should turn her into a Borg. Or even more of a Borg than we already are. Her administrative capacity took a really nice bump. Got a couple high-level leaders. That should go rather quick. Our alloy bump edict has expired. I'm going to go ahead and re-establish that. Got more than enough minor artifacts to do so. Could consider doing something else. 10% boost to research speed for 227 nanites, about a third of what we have. Not bad. We could really use is a energy boost. Exotic gases, sunlight speed, no. $200 influence, the one thing that we don't really have. I'm going to start a recycling campaign to try to get our consumer goods into line. Attack shield boosters. I'm going to find our planetary habitats.
Technology secured.
We now have the ability to build the Juggernaut and the Colossal Assembly Yards. Now that we're going to consider habitats, advanced habitats is a good idea.
Construction complete.
Finishing Assam, we're going to move. We're going to build a starbase in Suratuda.
Sphere of influence expanded.
We completed the colony in Zalaman. I'm going to start them off, as we have pretty much started everyone, with some robot assembly plants. Some... I don't get the option for energy. Interesting. We're going to add gene clinics. We're going to add some administrative offices. We have an unemployed worker on our habitat. We have pre-sapiens. Just leave that alone to let it grow a little bit so that we have some jobs for all of our Vrinn.
Construction complete.
We should have a second habitable world. So over in Rochelle, we're going to get another colony ship going. Ooh, that's a lot of fleet power. So we have our two nanite ships together. Can they join? No. Unfortunate. You would kind of think that you could at least group nanites together. We'll still let them stand guard on Briscoe.
Technology secured.
So we got a buff on energy at 5%. going to take the ability to construct gateways. What do we just clear here? Leader level cap. Go for the Strategic Coordination Center. So we now have our 3rd and 4th Expeditionary Fleet in Etra Vipe. We're still moving our 1st to Hyzar. We're going to stack it out. So in Vrinn, I'm going to toss up another construction ship and take a look at building some habitats. Something I have not done in this game before. We have an unemployed Ultra Vrinn worker. I'm going to send them over to Yelbarister Prime.
Technology secured.
Hit our cap on minerals. Alright, sell 10,000. I have advanced habitats. I'm going to upgrade to level 5 missiles.
Construction complete. At the Dread Pirate's Grave, it seems that several groups of explorers have traveled to this location in the past looking for ill-gained treasure that Dread Pirate Raywin amassed, including a legendary ceremonial mask he wore. This mask was a cultural icon among many marauder clans in the galaxy, and whoever recovered it would command a lot of respect. Tensions rose on the site as fantasies of wealth and fame clouded the archaeologist's mind until infighting broke out over the control of the digging areas. Many were killed. Tell them to keep digging. Ooh. So something happened in Tharam. quite sure what. An unidentified empire looks to have taken it from them. Well, there's a transport fleet there. Sort of looks like... Interesting. They're not particularly powerful. Let me go have a look. We're going to just go ahead and merge the 4th and the 3rd. And we're going to send the 3rd in for a look. What? The state of Thrum 3. So, is that... Are they calf aliens? Ran into them to Vardada. Just see what happens. We have received a communique from the previously unknown spacefaring empire that call themselves the State of Thrum 3. They claim to have learned of our existence by listening in on communications of another empire we are in contact with. State of Thrum are some anteater looking folks that are a totalitarian regime of hegemonic imperialists. We're the State of Thrum 3, minions of the wise Primarch Ghani Bakarab. Our aim is to improve ourselves through the use of technology, and whether you agree with these goals or not, we will trust you to remain amicable neighbors. They are militarists, fanatical materialists. I think you're going to come to serve us. So... we're gonna make a claim. What? We need 15 more influence. Alright, fellas. We'll wait. We have picked up readings of an unknown nature. These signals seem to follow some kind of repeating syntax which could indicate sapient origin. It should be investigated further. They seem to be concentrating around a single space station, although it is unclear whether this forms part of a larger spacefaring civilization. So I kind of assume
This tracking mark was that find habitat event. But I have no idea how to take advantage of that. Well, we can just theoretically build a habitat. We just need the influence to do so. Okay. Enter the orbit. A prominent intellectual on Nikor Prime. A fledgling colony is always an opportunity for advancement for those with the ambition to seize it. On Nikor Prime, this has proven to be the case. Ishnatakor, a former university professor well known for his innovative thinking, has risen to prominence among the new colonists. They come to him for advice on all matters, and he has taken over directing the day-to-day running of the colony. Having already found ingenious solutions to several pressing problems the colonists have faced, he has dedicated himself to ensuring the success of the colony, and is of the firm opinion that Nikor Prime will never be important in this galaxy unless its citizens dedicate themselves to education and knowledge. That gives us a bunch of good pops. Or a bunch of good buffs. Alright. Alright. I think given the opportunity... What are you, diplomatic? Oh. It's a protectorate. Well, we might as well rile somebody up. To make a claim on your system. Yes, they are.
We have declared war to safeguard our interests. Star system charted.
And let some hostilities begin. Oh, you're a long way off. Thought you were faster than that. After successfully translating their language, we have established communications with the independent space station of the Vrinn Commerce Exchange. I speak on behalf of the Vrinn Commerce Exchange. We have facilitated trade negotiations between interested parties on our station in the Mara data system for more than 1,000 of your years. If you happen to possess more resources than you need, we are more than willing to take them off your hands. You will be duly compensated. Well met.
enemy vessels.
I think that we have it over at the restored megastructure. We are going to buff up another set of battleships. A mix of carriers and our mega cruiser, our mega giga cannon equipped auto battleships.
Technology secured.
We're gonna buff up our battleships since we're getting into hostilities. Lost a corvette. We've had a cave-in. Beshnik Tukor just came across a massive caved-in area in a remote section of the underground complex on Konga 3A. It appears the section was shaken by a massive explosion with over a dozen of mangled dead bodies identifiable in the rubble. In a less affected section, we have found a body with an intact data pad on it. The last entry reads as follows. Engineer Juarez log date, who cares? Neron fired me today. I told her that if we keep using high-power cutters in this area, we are just going to hit a methane pocket nearby. She said I can leave if I don't believe in this mission. Just got back to the site to pack my stuff, tried to talk to some sense into Carell's team, but they all see us sided with Neron. They can blow themselves up with speech recognition failure, noise too loud, unexpected end of recording. Keep digging. They have a large battleship-based fleet moving in to assist. It's just a little too late. Down to our battleships.
Attacking enemy assets.
Our research post at ATPN 98 monitoring the rock brain sent an urgent message. The brain appears to have become aware outside of the forces monitoring it. They request support from a science ship urgently.
Situation log updated. Sphere of influence expanded.
We may lose a battleship here if it takes too long. We may lose all the battleships here.
Construction complete.
And we did. Sell 10k minerals.
Technology secured.
The last expedition in Grunar, the walls and ceilings of these chambers are extremely reinforced with neutronium and some kind of moving or living metal. They seem to repair most of the damage our tools did to the doors after we opened them. There are signs of firefights and explosions inside the chambers, but the walls, floors, doors, and ceiling all appear to be in pristine condition. This complex must have been some kind of bunker or at least a very heavily fortified facility. Gonna move this science ship over to Hyzar because we're gonna likely need to research some debris. Gonna move this next colony ship to colonize Grunar 3. Take a look at our technologies. Took another buff to naval capacity. We're going to take another buff to our battleship hulls. So our third expeditionary fleet was successful. And we have taken both Tharam and Kuram. We're going to move forward to Sahari. At the Dread Pirate's grave, the archaeologists on Cognath 3A have found a series of rooms which they believe to be dormitories for Ray Wynn's crew. The crew is still here, dead and mummified in their beds. Due to the state of the bodies, it's impossible to be certain what killed them. But what is most weird about them is that the species they all belong to is not known to us. Perhaps they were part of a now extinct marauder culture. Keep digging. We got another tradition. I think We've been having some destabilizing events, so a 5% stabilization buff would be useful. We have an unemployed worker robot. Let's see what we look like. We have more worker jobs on Yelbarista. We're going to resettle that robot prop to Yelbarista. We now have a final building slot on Wadriax Prime. I think being a core world, we're going to up its trade value even further. We're going to add a galactic stock exchange. Barrister now can go up to a planetary administration. Grunar Prime. We're going to set it up with robot assembly plants. So we now have an extra envoy. Set it up with a energy grid, and then we're going to give it gene clinics. Excellent. Our largest fleet is on its way.
Star system charted. Technology secured.
You just clear these low-level checks and get them out of the way. Go and into the orbit around the gas giant and see if that's how we get a habitat built. Legalon Prime can upgrade its planetary capital. The excavation at the Dread Pirate's grave, our archaeological expedition has found a massive network of tunnels below the main structure of the underground base on Cognath 3A. It seems Raywin's forces spent considerable time looking for something in the moon's crust, and some of the excavation equipment is still in evidence. Equipment of a different design, presumably placed by an archaeological expedition seeking for the Dread Pirate, is sparsely strewn across the tunnels. In an abandoned makeshift camp, Beshna Tokor has found another data pad. It contains only one message. Neron, I will not endanger myself and the crew by waiting for you here any longer. If you come back at any point, return to the base camp. I will leave behind enough supplies and one of the shuttles for you to get off this moon, but you will not find me or anyone else. The course is pre-programmed to take you to the nearest civilized systems, where you will hopefully be arrested for your actions. Please do not attempt to change it. It was a mistake to trust you. Good luck. Perhaps it's best if we never meet again. That's it. The science team the science team of the observation station orbiting Siet 1 have not reported anything substantial in a while. That was until a young scientist stationed on the facility sent an encrypted message blaming her colleagues of misconduct. The crew have reportedly descended upon the planet and proclaimed the chief scientist as a deity to the locals. Not only that, but they also made them construct a holy monument in his honor. The resulting pyramid now stands on the planet's surface, the locals worshipping it and presenting it with offerings. And honestly, I just want your planet. Well, let them advance in age and see how it goes. Every world needs its pyramids. Actually, gonna change. We're gonna go to comm. Take out that starbase. Okay, we finished our... Now we're going to add 4 missile cruisers. And 4 plasma cruisers. Ooh, actually, probably shouldn't do that. It's getting a little high in the horse. We're already over our naval capacity. Okay, we're just going to move these guys out. Short wind housing still.
Colonization in progress.
We're gonna may have to clip a few ships to get we have finished excavation at the Dread Pirate's grave. Beshna Takor has followed the tunnels to a massive empty chamber separate from the rest of the complex. Its design and technology seem very different to what Raywin's forces were using at the time. A hatch can be found at the end of a long shaft that probably once led to the outside, but it seems to have collapsed as a result of tectonic activity at some point in the past. However, no sign of Raywin or his treasures can be seen. The only interesting part of the room is the body on the floor wearing a suit with the insignia identifying it as Professor Neron, head of the expedition to find the Dread Pirate. She is still clutching a data pad. The last entry reads, "Coming here was a mistake. Even if Raywin was ever here, he's gone. The sacrifices I have made were for nothing. There's not enough oxygen left to make it to the surface, even if I had wanted to. But the only thing waiting for me outside is arrest and trial for the sacrifices I had to make to get here. The deaths of all the idiots who killed each other or themselves to get ahead of me will be pinned on me. The rest of my crew is either dead or abandoned me. I will stay here and wait for death." So the legend of the Dread Pirate was a lie. That seems anticlimactic. Dang it. Alright, alright. We have a free science ship. We have nothing truly in need of exploration surrounding us. Gonna go and check out that anomaly.
Construction complete.
Another unemployed worker. We're going to also resettle them to Yelbarasta and continue to buff up that. Actually, we now have Grunar Prime. I'm not quite sure if they finished building anything, but we're going to send them. Yep.
Technology secured. Technology secured.
We can activate either of these, but I just don't think it's necessary at this point. Upgrade some of our missile ships.
Star system charted. Technology secured. Vessels upgraded.
So they have jumped a ship into the Alligator. We have a pretty large defensive structure there. I don't know that they want any piece of that. Alright, I am getting tired. It's kind of late here. I think I'm going to cut it. We are beginning our incursion into the Dakaris data bank. We're going to acquire the first of its colonies, but also looking to set them back a bit in terms of their development and their military power, while continuing to increase our own. I think we have a few extra buildings that we can do here. Oh. Wrong man. Queue up the next stage of growth. Everything's going pretty well. We are over our naval capacity. Probably build a few more star bases with anchorages to account for some of that. I think what we could do is throw a starbase or two on these black hole worlds to get some more dark matter production. And add some anchorages to the same. Go ahead and do that. Little added bonuses. Alright, so in this episode, Zelvine Corporate Holdings became our protectorate, and we have begun our
initial hostilities against the Dakaris data bank, mainly to pick up the state of Theram 3, which they for some reason broke off as a protectorate. It has a super colony, which is our supercontinent world, which is our favorite of all planet types. But overall, it was just kind of time to flex the muscles of the Vrinn Imperium against our primary competitor in the galaxy. So far, it seems to be going well. And we'll continue on probably tomorrow morning-ish, I think. But we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, if you're watching now, thanks for watching. If you are watching this on VOD, thanks for watching it then. Have a good one.